Hello everybody, hi again, it's still me. I'm Elena Zvarici from Romania. Actually, yes, there is a chapter of EuroCloud in Romania. We are started for 1 year now and growing our member base. And yes, there is a cloud business going on in Romania. And I'm happy to be here today with one of our national winners, Marius, who is running a startup using multiple clouds in order to do its business. So you are going to see it's very interesting. Things are happening also in that part, far away of Europe. In the meantime, I would like to present and introduce everybody. I also would like to ask for your active participation during this is a panel, so it's a discussion panel. You are welcome to intervene and to ask questions anytime. Of course, our presenters are going to show what they are doing in their business for 5 to 10 minutes, after which we are going to have a common discussion on the topic of using multiple clouds. So I will ask you to first see what ecManaged is, what Victor Lasierra is doing in his day-to-day operations. I took a short look on their website. It appeared as very interesting to me, very interesting company using multiple, it's a kind of portal between multiple clouds. This is what I understood. So you help company.
A good Samar. Let me introduce myself. Okay, my name is Victor Lasierra. I'm co-founder and marketing manager at ecManaged. Before starting, let me introduce briefly what is ecManaged. As Elena said, it's a cloud management application that makes it easier to create and to maintain multi-cloud infrastructure. The idea, the concept of ecManaged first arose in a company in Barcelona dedicated to managed services. In the last 12 years, we have seen the evolution from physical on-premise servers to multi-cloud environment. What we have done is to transfer our experience in management tasks to a software as a service IT management application for both, for physical platform and also for multi-cloud platform. In this presentation, I want to share with you, firstly, why multi-cloud is the future of cloud. Secondly, the requirements to build a multi-cloud infrastructure. And thirdly, finally, how to solve the issues when combining more than one provider in the same platform. Let's start with cloud. Everybody knows perfectly the benefits that cloud offers companies today. For instance, the flexibility to adapt the IT resources to the actual needs of your business. The immediacy to dispose of IT resources in a matter of minutes and then reduce the time to run of new projects. And that you pay for what you use, reducing uncertain and big investment. So you are moving from a CapEx model to an OpEx, and it's something very interesting for companies nowadays. Cloud computing is offering a significant cost reduction. For instance, 70% of companies using cloud computing services has reduced at least 15% the IT costs. As you can see, all these benefits has helped that cloud computing is a highly adopted technology. This is a number for the US market. You can see that 93% of American companies are using cloud computing services. It's a very big number. As the European market is delayed 2-3 years to respect the US market, we expect to reach these figures in about 2015, more or less. But everything is not great with cloud computing. There are some technical issues that hold back potential user of cloud computing. For instance, and the most important, the availability. Everyone who has worked in IT has experienced some issues related to availability, from hardware and software failures to human errors. Cloud computing is not different, and I could say that it's even worse than in an on-premise physical server, because when you are controlling your platform, IT team can do something to fix problems. But when you are using a cloud computing, the only thing you can do is to wait. Another point is the complexity, because each provider uses different processes and quite unfriendly user interface, and it's quite difficult to work with them. The performance is also another issue, because you never know the performance of this cloud provider for the specific requirements of your application, and even this performance can change along the time. Another issue is the coverage, because cloud providers are not located where you need them to be. If the cloud provider is not where your final end users are located, then you can have problems, legal issues in terms of data protection. You can get also a worse SEO positioning and have slowest user experience. And also the capacity is a problem, because when you want to update or increase your platform, you can find that your provider has not capacity enough. And something even worse, that it's the vendor lock-in situation. It's very difficult to move your platform once you have decided to work with one cloud provider. It's very difficult to move, to change, so you are in a vendor lock-in situation. As you can see, it's a big responsibility to choose a cloud provider for work with, and the solution is the multi-cloud. So if you cannot choose only a provider that fulfills all your requirements, you can combine them in your platform. As you can see here in the same statistics from the US market, 77% of US companies are using a combination of multiple cloud. Almost the half is using a hybrid cloud, combining public and private. 15% is using a multi-private cloud, and another 50% is using a multi-public cloud. But a cloud is not only to use more than one cloud provider, running an application in one provider and another application in another provider. In fact, that doesn't solve the problem of capacity, performance, and especially availability. A multi-cloud solution is to combine more than one provider in your platform. For instance, you can choose a world-trusted provider for the backend, for the core part of your application, that is databases, files, repository, etc., and then select one or several providers for the front end, for the web and application servers. So you can get the best from each provider. Probably the backend provider is more expensive, but it will be able to offer the performance and the security you need. And then for the front end, you will get distributed geographically providers, and also probably a cheaper price. But also, multi-cloud has some issues. Basically, it's the complexity, because every provider offers a different set of services. In terms of monitoring, each provider is controlling different parameters and uses different user panel as well. Networking also, it's another point of difference, especially in the IP assignment process, using volatile addresses, and also with load balance. Some provider doesn't offer load balancing services, and the one do it in a different way as well. The storage and backup is also different for each provider, and the scaling also. Scaling is a very important issue using with cloud, because then you can take profit of the flexibility, and some providers are not offering a scaling process. So you can see it's a very diversified environment. And how we can solve it? The solution is to add an interface, an abstraction layer between your applications and the cloud providers. It gives you a technological neutrality that allows you to use, to install and to run your application regardless the specific requirements of each provider. This interface is what is called a cloud management platform. And this is ecManaged, for instance. And which are the basic features you have to ask to a cloud management platform? First of all, is to help you to provide automatically infrastructure as computing, storage, and networking in the same way for all the different providers. Another feature is to help you to deploy your application. providing an automated middleware and database installation. Also, it has to provide common governance tools like monitoring and scaling features. And a cloud management platform has to be integrated with external systems like external monitoring or ticketing services. And another more important feature that it's something ecManaged is doing is enabling the mobility across providers. So you can really combine different providers in the same platform. You can define an auto-scaling process using different providers because we have defined a high-level model of your entire platform that includes not only the application template, but also the networking information, the installation scripts, and also the code source. So you have the DNA string of your entire platform that can be used to deploy your entire platform using different providers. Another important feature is the IT management tasks, because most of our competitors are only offering a help during the implementation phase of your platform. ecManaged goes a little bit further because gives you some help to manage your platform and all the full life cycle of it. And we don't have to forget physical servers, because physical platform will coexist with cloud for a long time. So ecManaged offers a common panel, a common user interface for both, for multi-cloud and also for physical servers as well. So the conclusion, the future of cloud lies in multi-cloud, and to go to this model, it's very necessary to have a help of a cloud management platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victor. Very interesting. So I was right when I was saying that you are a kind of portal and interface between multiple cloud providers. I would, before we go to the next presenter, which is Marius, who is also running a very interesting business case in multiple clouds, I would like to ask if there are any questions for Victor. None. Okay, so you understood perfectly. It was a very clear presentation. Yes. Okay, so let's see what Marius is doing. Marius, you are, I'm proud to say, the winner of this year Best Startup in Romania. And you are basically running a render farm service. You all know that videos need to be processed in render farms. You have perhaps heard about that processes, and they take a lot of time and resources to be processed and accomplished. So this is the markets that Marius is tackling. He has set up an online 3D render farm using several cloud providers in order to help businesses do their videos faster, with less investments, and better than before. So, Marius, I will pass the word to you.
Thank you for the very nice introduction. Yes, indeed, we are a startup. We do 3D rendering in the cloud using HPC computers. And before entering into the technical details, I will show you exactly what kind of problems we had and how we solved them, and why we choose to use a multi-cloud implementation instead of just using one cloud provider. But first of all, let's see what is rendering. Are you familiar with the subject? Can you please raise your hand if you are? Okay, thank you. I'll make a short introduction then. Rendering is a very important step in the life cycle of a 3D project. It's the phase that processes and transforms the 3D model that you see here in the final image that looks like that, and which you see on the screens, in commercials, in movies and all that. The problem is that this phase, rendering, is also the most computing intensive phase in the entire project. And this is why a render farm is needed. And because figures are more expressive than words, I've taken an example. This is a movie that was rendered on our farm, actually. It's just 30 seconds long, so half a minute. If rendered on the client's computer, it would have taken 2.5 months of non-stop computing. So 2.5 months, 24/7, that computer would have to render that project. We did it in 2.5 hours. Well, the advantage is obvious. So, how do we do it? What are the particularities of this business and why the cloud? First of all, we need a lot of hardware resources, and this is obviously the same eternal question, CAPEX versus OPEX. Obviously, since we are here, we went to the cloud. We went to the cloud because it eliminated the need of a very large initial investment. We are talking about €500,000 to €1 million to set up a data center. And because it allows us to focus our resources on building better software, which we think is more important at this point. Also, the cloud hardware gets updated periodically by the cloud providers at virtually no cost for us. So we have another advantage that we always run on actual hardware. Another particularity is that the demand has very frequent and very large peaks. You will see a bit later, I'll show you a graph. Because the service is fully automated, any number of clients can come and launch any number of jobs in parallel, and without prior notice. So we need to be able to allocate enough hardware to satisfy those jobs in a timely manner. And this brings us to the third issue, that we don't always know if the resources we need are available in a particular cloud. They may or may not be, and this is the risk we cannot take. So, I was talking about the demand earlier. You can see this is just a day in our farm. The blue line represents the demand. The red line represents the number of servers. You can see that somewhere in the evening, we had a very sudden spike in demand, so we had to boost the number of servers from 20 to just over 90 in less than an hour. And these are top-of-the-line servers. They are dual Xeon servers. And to give you a baseline of comparison, the green dotted line here is the Expedia site. I'm sure you all know the Expedia, the travel site. They use 19 servers to serve content to over 40 million customers a month. So in this day, which was not a very high day on our list, we used 90 servers. Okay, so obviously we needed to use multiple clouds and multiple cloud providers, and from each cloud provider we use several data centers to minimize the risk of failure. Also, we built our own internal software platform from scratch. It was built to run on cloud, and it's cloud provider agnostic, which means we can add one or several other cloud providers very easily and in a very short time. Because we use several cloud providers, we had to build our internal brokerage system, which has three primarily functions. First of all, to find all the resources we need to satisfy the demand. Second of all, to maximize the usage for those resources in order to optimize cost. And third, to do this with the lowest possible cost. And my favorite feature in all this is that it's totally transparent for the user. The only concern the user has is to upload his project and press a button to launch rendering. We do all the rest. And I think this is how a cloud service should be. Of course, running multiple cloud providers didn't come without challenges. The first one is the economical one, and it's very important because it affects the baseline of the business. How to maximize usage while reducing cost. And this is important. Why? We bill the customers by the minute. So if a cloud provider bills us by the hour, which is the case with Amazon, we need to be able to optimize the usage for each resource we get from them in order to make it profitable. And this is what our internal broker does. Another issue is that we use Linux as a platform for our software, and various cloud providers have various flavors of Linux available. So both our internal software and the third-party software that we use need to work very well on all those flavors of Linux. And this makes automatic deployment a bit more difficult. Another problem is uneven hardware configurations. All the cloud providers have different hardware configurations for the top-end servers which we use. And our billing unit for the user is the server hour. which means that we have to even out those offerings, and we have built an abstraction layer that calculates automatically performance and price for this server type. And the last issue I want to discuss at this moment is the transfer speed between geographical zones. If you need to transfer large amounts of data between Europe and US, for instance, that transfer is slower than local transfer, and that adds to the total processing time, and that adds to the costs. And in order to address that, we are continuously optimizing the amount of data to be transferred, and they are looking into more efficient way to transfer it, like UDP data transfers. That was all. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thanks a lot, Marius. Any questions for Marius? Oh, again, another perfectly understood. Yeah, one. Hold on a second.
Thank you. The cloud abstraction layer that you are using, did you build on an open source project or did you build it from scratch?
No, everything in our platform is built in-house from scratch.
Any other question? Nope. Great. Okay, so let's hear from Raphael. Raphael, are you from France?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, looks like that. So tell us what you are doing at Nuage Labs. Nuage
Thank you.
Cloud in France.
It is actually, yeah. So today, just like my fellow speakers, I would like to introduce a solution to address all the issues we have been talking about with the adoption of cloud solutions. So I will be trying to put that in full screen. Let's go. All right. So I will be, like my colleagues, I will be focusing on storage. I'm here today to introduce a product that actually my startup is editing. This product is called Cloud Gateway. So it's actually quite obvious what it's about, and it's supposed to be a gateway between the standard platforms that our customers might already have and all the different cloud storage providers you could have. Could be public cloud, could be private cloud. Our goal is to make it compatible with your existing platform so that we address the first issue that we've been talking about in the presentation before, which is adoption. So let's get into it. What I'm presenting today is a gateway. There are several gateways on the market. Our gateway is a bit different. It's a software. So it's a basic standard software that our customers are supposed to install on their servers. And this gateway will actually turn any cloud storage service into a local volume in file mode, just as if you were replacing your filer. Like you're working with EMC, you're working with NetApp, with IBM, and you could be like shutting down your filer, installing our software on one of your servers, could be a virtual resource, could be a bare metal server, and then you get, thanks to this gateway, you get access to whatever public or private cloud you want. You get access to it, and the idea is you can even use multiple clouds. That's the object of the presentation today. So the main idea is to say, first of all, there is no problem about getting into the cloud, because you can do it today without integrating any API, without changing anything to your application. You can get your storage into the cloud only installing the software, and it takes 5 minutes. So that's the first thing. Then the second idea is you can choose any provider. You can choose one of them, you can choose 2 of them, or as many as providers as you want, and you can do mirroring between them. So this means if one of them fails, your production is not impacted. This means if one of them is faster than the other at a specific time, then your platform is going to fetch your data from the one that is the faster service at this specific time. And it means that you can switch providers at any time, and you can go back to classic local standard file mode storage if you want to get out of the cloud. So you do not get stuck with a specific provider, and you do not get stuck with a specific technology. You don't have to go OpenStack or S3 or whatever. You just get into the cloud and you can change it from one day to another in 5 minutes without impact on your production. So that's what I'm presenting today, and I would like to focus on one or two case study to show you in reality what it could be used for. So let's get to it. So the first case I would like to introduce is one that we had with one of our customers. Or it's actually I skipped slide, but you might have heard about it. It's called Pôle Emploi in France. It's the public job agency. So we are actually put them into production with our solution recently. So the idea is we have here a customer, and they are storing terabytes of data on a standard filer, on an EMC filer actually, and they would like to gain all the benefits of cloud. So they would like to have, paying what they use and not having to invest a lot. So what they want is something flexible, and they don't want to fear about security and all the issues that we've been talking about. So they use our gateway, and basically what they get is a very simple platform. I don't know if you can see very well, but the idea is very simple. They had to install our gateway on 2 of their servers. They could have put 1 actually, but then they would have a SPOF, so they did install 2 of them. And so you have a standard replication and failover process, not to have any downtime in case one of the resources goes down. And they are actually putting their data into 2 different public clouds. So they chose Rackspace and Amazon, but they could have chosen anyone. It could have been any provider at all that is actually at least using one of the different standards of the market. They do not fear about security because we told them, okay, you don't want to rely on your public provider in order to encrypt your data. So you are going to do it yourself on your own premises using our gateway. We give you all the different open source algorithms that make it possible for you to encrypt your data, and you do it yourself. You generate yourself your own private key. You do not rely on off-site providers such as Amazon to do it for you, because maybe you cannot trust Amazon, or maybe you just don't want to risk it, so just do it yourself. And this was made possible actually because they had a very specific case in which they had a large amount of data, and it was not an intensive access to data. I mean, they had thousands of millions actually of different files, but one file is accessed once every year and not on a very intensive basis. So this means it was possible for them to store all their data into public cloud. But that's not always the case. So I would like to introduce another case we had, in which, in order to solve this, we decided to build a hybrid cloud. And building a hybrid cloud with a gateway is, again, really, really simple, because all you have to do is, once again, just to set up a software gateway on one of your resources and then plug it to a private cloud, both a private cloud and a public cloud. And then, as I told you earlier, as we developed an algorithm that is going to actually choose which one of the cloud service is the fastest as a specific time, then it's going to go take the data into the private cloud, and in case the private cloud goes down, then you get into a degraded mode in which you can fetch the data at the public cloud. But then you are addressing performance issues. This is something I would like to tell you also. We are also addressing performance issues, because our software gateway is going to limit the amount of data that is transferred to public clouds, because it does on-the-fly compression. And of course, it does all kinds of limitation, and you can put also all the files that you are accessing the most time into a local caching system. So in case you have enough space on your resources locally, you can even decide to have some of the resources that are stored inside your local caching device, and then it goes to the public cloud only if it needs to. So this is actually, I don't have much time, so this is two cases I wanted to share with you. A simple way to get to storage into the cloud, being provider independent really, and being able to go back to any kind of storage. Could be standard storage, or it could be another technology of storage into the cloud. So just one word, there are many actually gateways like that on the market. Most of them are appliances. We have a software which is more flexible, but what really makes us unique at Nuage Labs is that we have, well, a technology that is written in raw C language, so it's fast. It's actually faster than our competitors. But above all, we are the only technology right now, as far as I know, that has a mirroring feature, so that you can mirror your data on multiple clouds. And I think this is essential in order to be able to deploy hybrid clouds and to deploy on multiple public clouds at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. Very interesting. So I see that also Victor and Raphael are offering solutions that maybe Marius could use. Let's talk about it later. Maybe we can do some partnership. Are there any questions for Raphael? One at the back.
File-based workload, or can you support databases also with higher transaction level?
Well, what we really do is like we really make a gateway and we really transform object mode storage to file mode storage, which means, well, you can actually use it for any kind of usage. The only limit, of course, is if you're talking about database, and if you are looking for, instant access or really low latency access. Of course, you need to plug to the gateway, well, a cloud that has enough performance. So it might not be a public cloud, it might be a private cloud, or you could use a public cloud and our caching system. But if you do so, of course, you have to use, and you are the only one that is going to choose which kind of physical components you are going to use for the caching. So we are only providing the tool, and we let you configure on which kind of filing system you would like to put the local caching system. So if you say it's on a USB key, it's going to be on your USB key. I mean, so it won't be great for your database access, but it's really up to you. We only provide the tool, and then you decide what you want to do with it.
Raphael, can you share a bit about the business model you got lying behind this? So the way why your services, how you provide it to the end customers, how you ask them to pay for it, etc.
Thank you for this question. Okay, so actually our business model is really simple. We are a software editor. So we provide a software, and you actually buy a software from us that you are going to install on your servers. So we have one software license per instance where you install our software. So if you deploy our software on one physical server, you have to buy one software, and then there is no limit at all in terms of amounts of data, in terms of bandwidth, in terms of whatever. You remain a direct customer of your storage service provider, for instance.
Thanks. May I add one little question to that? How you're going to run the maintenance of your software? Because if you sell a one license, perpetual license to the customer, it's putting it on its own premise. And I guess you guys will have an agile development environment, so you're pushing new features anytime across. towards your customer base? How are you going to manage that if you have a traditional license model?
Well, it's of course it's installed on the server on premises, so it's not in the cloud, for instance. but it's actually the upgrades have to be made by your system administrator using the standard tools that are provided by Unix systems, depending on the one you're using and the one we have installed our service. But it's well, you have to perform an update of the packet of our packets on your system itself.
So could I stick this in front of Amazon Glacier storage, perhaps? So it would kind of, because that's very interesting to some of our customers with long-term archiving, but it's a pain to use for some of them.
So I'm not sure to know the details of the service you're mentioning, but one thing I'm pretty sure is Amazon has got something close to what I was introducing today. The only difference is Amazon works with Amazon, so it's the first great limit we do not have. You can work with Amazon, you can work with anyone using our service, as long as it's based on an OpenStack standard or a S3 standard or any of the others we have implemented on our gateway. And as far as I know, Amazon doesn't have these mirroring features between clouds I've been talking about.
So if I also may add my remarks to that, I think it's very interesting that we have 3 companies here that are showing us that they can push the limits of interoperability between multiple clouds, and it's funny that they do it. They have to do it. It's very necessary that they do it, because otherwise vendors do not do them by themselves. So it's one of the things that you mentioned, Victor, was the danger of locking also, Raphael. Of course, a vendor will always want to lock in his customer. This is the only way he can sell more. But these are the solutions that can maybe help us further develop the market and get to the point where we use what we need, really.
That's true. I think now the cloud market is based on a price war. You can compare cloud provider using the price, and prices is going down. It's good. I think when you can combine more than one provider and compare the performance, then you can push provider to fight also in quality and performance issues.
All right, so I will ask my colleague, who is helping me a lot, to tell me about the time frame that we are in. Is it so? We can go until 15:20, and now we still have how many minutes? Okay, we're done. Okay, so this means that our time is up. If you have any questions, now you can ask the speakers in the lobby, and please don't hesitate to contact them. Thank you very much for listening and for participating, and hope to see you soon in the lobby.